Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. This is Corey and this is MadRatt Garage. Today just doing a little maintenance on MazMad here. We got a little drippy gas leak. And I think it's coming out of the coupler from the filler tube to the gas tank. So we're gonna put her up, take a look, see what's going on. And we're back in the shop playing around. So come along for the ride. Thanks for stopping by. Let's get after it. Alright, so here's what I'm dealing with. On the bottom of that coupler, it's leaking out right here and then dripping. This is all metal, so I'm gonna have to take that whole tube, which goes all the way up into the taillight. It's got to come out to be sealed. I'm gonna have to do some looking to see if they sell like an O-ring, because I don't feel nothing there at all. It might have rotted away. For the meantime, maybe I just throw a little black RTV up in there, because it's just a drip, but it's enough that it's dripping a gallon or two over time. Because when I fill it, the bottom of that is here, and that whole tube is probably under gas because of how I can't stand on the other side of the car, but because it's behind the tail light there, right? And it has to go all the way down and over to here when you're filling to get that nozzle to stop. The gas has to make it up into the tube a ways. So being that it's up in here, that means the top of the tank's pretty full. So it's dripping several gallons down and out. I mean, I drove it 20 miles and it was still dripping the next morning. So if I don't drive it, it's dripping out several gallons, which would make sense because this thing should get about 15 miles a gallon, and it's getting like 8 just in the 2 fill-ups I did. So we will see. Work on that next. Figure it out. I gotta go look and see if there's a gasket or something that's supposed to be there.
One eternity later.
All right. Got our pack of O-rings for the filler tube neck. A little update, any of you that have to do this, or a little information, let's say. You go on, there's several Tri-5 Chevy part suppliers, I guess you call them, and they sell these. And they're $5.95 a piece, and like $8 shipping. Right? Not this. This is what they call a it's Viton, V-I-T-O-N. It's made out of Viton. It is gas, oil, chemical resistant, and it's a little more soft. And the other ones that they sell are also gas and oil, but they're just, I don't remember what they call them. They're black, and they're not as soft and pliable, and everybody says they don't last as long. Same price, $6, free shipping on Amazon. These are $12 from everybody on Amazon with free shipping, which is kind of like the $5, $4.95, $5.95 with $8 shipping, $12. I found these guys. Same brand, same part number. There's 12 of them in here? 10. 10 of them in here. $12.56 for 10 of them. Do I need 10? No. But if I'm gonna spend $12 on one, I might as well get 10. Because God knows what may or may not happen. I might tear one trying to get it in and out. I would need another. I know people with Tri-5s. They might have the same problem and need one. I have them. Maybe I can sell them for $5 a piece with no shipping because I just handed it to you. Here, take it. Is it yours? You want it? So, that's what we're working on today. We're gonna go over here. Got MazMad up on the lift. Don't have to go too high. And, oh, sure, we're over here by the music and they're gonna nail me for copyright infringement. Okay. Let me show you what we be working on. So, this is the gas tube. And that's where it's leaking out. You can even see where this stuff is kind of peeling because it leaked out through here. That O-ring's probably shot. It's just pressed in. And then we have 2 bolts. Must be half. Huh. Smaller than half. That's 9/16. What the heck did I put on there? Smaller than half. Take the 3/8 just in case, but I doubt it's smaller than 7/16. Oh, yeah. Sweatshirt day again today. Wearing the shop sweatshirt. It's it was 39 degrees when I left this morning in Florida. That cold front's affecting everybody. That temperature don't affect me that much. As much as I don't own a pair of pants anymore because I outgrew them. I'm probably the only truck driver that got out of a truck and gained weight. It's crazy. Come on, get on there. All right. It's a sheet metal deal. No nut back there. All right. So now what should be happening? I'm gonna wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And that should rise up in here a ways. There's no bolt. There's actually a rubber collar in there too. I can't tell from here if it's on, if the rubber collar's still there or not. I think it is. I think that's, yeah, I can feel it. It's gotten hard, but it should walk up from the rubber collar just enough to be able to pull it out. Oh, perfect. It's probably about that much in the tank. Probably about that far. So let's see if we can nicely and gently walk it out. I think I'm going to go up a little higher with it so I have a little more angle to play with. You can see there. That's all it does. That's the bracket, back side of the bracket we just took the bolts out of. I don't know if there's a... I really don't want to pry on it, because then we can distort that metal and that could end up being a leak. I wouldn't mind taking this thing completely out and getting that freaking undercoating off of there, but I guess it don't matter. There we go.
Yes! That's awesome!
Yep. It came out. Huh. Ooh. That's some cruddy gas looking gas tank. Yeah, I don't even feel the O-ring on here. Yep, I can't even feel the O-ring. It must have completely deteriorated. Well, that would explain why when you fill it, it's leaking. Boroscope on it. Take a look down in there. Yeah. It doesn't need to be said. The inside looks just as bad as that neck. It's got real rough looking rust. So for now, I guess I'm gonna have to get a couple of extra filters just in case that becomes a problem. I don't see anything floating in there, but I can't see the bottom of the tank. Not getting a real good visual. But from what I'm seeing, and that's typical, like I said, my dad drove this thing and he'd put a couple gallons of gas in it and he'd drive it like 10 miles. And, you know, if it's getting 10 miles a gallon, you put 2 gallons in it, all you're doing is adding a gallon, and then there's a year's worth of evaporation and stuff, and it's never was full, per se. So, I'm thinking years of not being a full tank of gas, and it's pretty crusty in there. Crustier than I care. And we just put a new one in his Nomad before he sold it to my brother. It's not easy on these Nomads to do, or the wagons, because this is the tank, and this, it's right up against that. You can see it's rounded around it. And then it has to drop down between that and the rear end. It helps being up on the lift, but as you can see, there's not a lot of room between the rear end and where that has to squeeze down through. So I don't know if the new ones are just a tad big. The old one came out of my dad's 55, my brother's Bromad. Fairly easy. It wasn't horrible. Dumbass I am. I'm trying to remember this now. I put new leaf springs in my dad's, so I was able to lower the rear end a little bit, and we got it out. And my dumbass, I don't remember putting the new one in that way. So when the new one, when I got the springs in and everything and I did all that, then I put the tank in, and I had to kind of bang it up in there because it was too tight. Loosen up the rear end a little bit, bang it up in there, and it's just a tight fit. So, but that is going to be a winter project, I think. Or it's winter now. I keep saying winter project. Summer in Florida is hot rod winter. It's too hot to do anything. You don't go to car shows because who's going to sit around in 98 degree weather with 98% humidity and sit in a lawn chair and behind your car and talk with people. You want to be inside. Not everybody has air conditioning in their hot rods. So who wants to drive around sticking to your vinyl or your leather with no air conditioning when 98 degree weather? So you guys are in because of the snow, spending time in your garage. And updating and maintaining and building your hot rods. And then when spring comes, you drag them out and you enjoy them all summer. We put ours in about April, May, and then it's too damn hot. And that's when we work on them until about November, December. So that's Florida hot rod winter. I have, and I don't know where I put it. I don't know if I ever got it out. Oh, I spoke to a son. Vaseline. So, put some Vaseline on your O-ring. Put it in. But I need both hands, and I don't think you can see me when I'm in with both hands. I am going to take my dirty red Scotch-Brite I use. It's kind of oily, which I prefer. And I'm going to clean up all that rust in there as much as I can on the end of the tube and in the hole, as much as I can. Then we'll lube this, put it on the filler tube, and then put the filler tube in and hope that we got the right size when we bought these. I was on a Nomad site, guys all talking about the O-ring, bunch of guys talking about theirs leaked, bunch of guys talking about switching to the Vitten style, and a bunch of guys talking about there's different thickness sizes, and that if yours is an original neck onto original tank, that this size is perfect because it's a hair bigger than original and it takes up the gap. 75 328. So it says that's 0.210 inches, and the inside diameter is 0.185, and it's a 75 durometer hardness. And it's the number is they call it a 328 O-ring by DuPont. The 328 is the size that I ordered. I think it was 325 or 324 was the original. Everything else is the same. It's just that this thickness was just micrometer smaller. And a couple other guys said that they tried this and it worked great because their original tank leaked and they bought an original one of these and put it in and it didn't work. They still leaked. And I think that's just from years of bouncing around and vibrating it. And the rust you see, we've lost the metal. So let me go ahead and just, you don't need to watch me scrubby. But I'll bring you back when it's time to put the O-ring in. Okay, so I got that I was able to slide that back, get that all cleaned up. And this, where that rust line starts, that is where the O-ring sits right before that. You can see the line where the O-ring was at one time. So scrub back there a little bit with this, but it's really, this is some coarse stuff. But we got the line before it cleaned up pretty good. So I'm gonna throw some Vaseline on that puppy and stick her in there and see if how hard it is to get all this on there. So that is a bit of a chore, but we got her, huh? All right. Let me add a little more. I'm gonna Vaseline this inside too. Going in on this side, but you can see not a lot of room to really work, and peeled it. I had it in its lip. Rolled it right off again. That's where it's supposed to be. That's all the farther it goes in, guys. But you can see it keeps rolling that. Because it's not like a straight shot in. You can see over here, it's starting to go in. Over there where you were, it's almost too much of a gap. Not enough of a gap. And being the way this is going in, there's only one way it goes in, so it's hard to line it up straight. And again, if I'm redoing this in 3-4 months, maybe we just goop it up. I don't like the idea of doing that. Wonder if I can get the proper size in this 10-pack. See, nobody that's selling the proper size gives out the actual size. And this guy didn't give out the proper size either. He just said the proper size didn't work. He ordered that, it didn't work. And he went, this is considered one size bigger in thickness of the rubber. And it was perfect. And I just thought, well, if that O-ring shot, it's probably never been replaced on this car. The tube, the tank, never been replaced. One size up's probably a good idea to avoid leaky. Well, let me figure out what the next step is, and I'll bring you guys back when I do.
3 days later.
All right, another day. We're playing around with that, and kind of came to the conclusion that that O-ring might be too big, and might have to look into getting a smaller one. Go back to the factory, because maybe, just maybe, my stuff isn't as worn out as the other guys talked about. But as you've seen in the video, I was downloading the video because I had a moment, and I always go back and relook. You know, not to repeat myself a lot, but the reason I started doing these videos in the first place has nothing to do with YouTube. It had to do with reminding myself what I had already done on stuff. So I started videotaping, and I just treated it like I had a YouTube channel. I was talking to the camera, and I'd use it to show my friends and family, especially like my mom and dad who lived in Florida when I didn't live in Florida. And if I worked on a car, I'd have video. Instead of just showing up with a car that's done, I'd be like, hey, you know, it was cool. It was really in shape when I got it. It was like this, and I did this, and I did that. And my dad always liked to hear those stories, but sometimes it's hard to comprehend in your head. So I thought it'd be cool. I'm doing it for me. I'll just talk to the camera like I'm talking to people, and then I'll show it to him, and he'll see, I'll narrate it so I remember, and narrate it like I'm talking to people, and he'll enjoy it, you know? So, and then that just kind of snowballed into me putting them on YouTube. Anyways, that being said, I went back and I was downloading these, and I watch them to see what I've done, because it's been a couple of days, and to see where I left off. So when I pick up the camera and come out here to do some more work, I try not to repeat myself. I don't always go back and look. But you just saw, and I just saw it, and I'm going to go over there and double check now because I'm running out going, wait a minute. Is that the problem I ran into? The old O-ring looks like it's still on there. Because when I stuck my little screwdriver in there to try to pry the other, because the other O-ring's on there, because I got a bag of 10. When I went to pry that kind of on there, I saw something move under the screwdriver. Did you guys see that? I saw it. Put the circle up and you'll see what I'm talking about. But if the old O-ring's on there, that's why when I'm going to push it in, it's rolling back. Let me come back there a little ways. Yeah, it's poking out now. That old one. Well, I'll be dipped. To quote another famous, way famous, cool YouTuber, that fits. I'll be dipped. All right, I need 2 hands. So let me figure out how to set you guys up so you can see this. All right. I don't believe I can't believe I missed that. I mean, that's how wore out it is. It sits below it. It sits below the actual indentation made for it. Oh yeah, major flat spot. See that flat spot in the double ring in there? So that thing's been sitting flat and squished. I don't know if you can tell, it's so dirty. But it's flattened out and squished on that end. Almost all the way around. Oh, dang! See, this is why going back and watching your video, this is why making video and going back, because that was a completely different angle. Where you're at isn't where I can get my head. I can't even hardly see that from here. So let's see how that sits in there now. Oh, yeah, much gooder. Never been so excited that an O-ring fit in my life. Alright. I am gonna throw still. I'm gonna just redo a bit of this. I'm gonna throw some Vaseline in there again because it's been a couple of days and this stuff doesn't dry up so much, but I want fighting back and forth. I want this to go smoother. Won't that be something? All right, doing one of these. Get her up there. Look at that. That is. There it goes. Woohoo! Holes are lined up. Actually, it's a little deeper than it should be. That's okay. Holes are lined up. And that bad boy is all the way in flush. I tell you what, guys. It feels good. It feels really good to know that going back and watching the video, to see that. I feel like a moron because I felt all around there and I'm like, there's nothing there because it was just flat and smooth. It didn't feel like an O-ring. It was a smooth indentation, but not deep enough. So thanks to the guy who posted online to go with the bigger one because it fit tight. That felt tight. I don't think this is going to leak. I feel like an idiot for not noticing that. I should have dug deeper, but it was just a bad angle that I couldn't see it. And with my feeling with my hands, there was no feeling of any O-ring. It was flat and smooth. So going back and watching the previous video, camera in a different angle, all of a sudden I saw that move when I stuck the screwdriver in there. I'm like, what just moved there? Is the O-ring still on? Yay! You ever been so happy about an O-ring fitting? I was getting aggravated. I'm like, how am I going to get this pushed in there? I'm just going to have to RTV the crap out of it until I put a new tank in. Pshaw. Okay, I'm going to throw those 2 screws in, bolts in, whatever you call them, sheet metal screws. There's one. There's one on the ground. There's 2. And I think I'm going to walk that back so those lines match up because I don't want that O-ring too far in and on the rusty because it might not seal very good on that rusty crust. There, that's a pretty good matchup. Pretty close. Yeah, maybe a hair deeper, but that's okay. We look good. That is not a big job, guys. Not even big job shutting my flashlight off. Not even at home up on jack stands. Just, you could probably take the tire off and have a little more access. It's nice having it on the lift. But as you can see, that tube moved back and forth inside of its collar, back by the, and that might be the thing. If you got a brand new rubber collar at the filler neck behind the taillight, it might not have moved as smooth as mine did. Mine was able to do a little twisty and push, and it would slide back, because that's the original rubber grommet back there. But it's a pain in the ass to do if you don't realize the O-ring's still there. Mama always said, check your O-ring. So, I don't know how well you can see that. Put it up against some white paper, but she flat. She real flat, squashed flat. And I said, I was just rubbing my finger over there. All I felt was flat. I was feeling for round, you know. I mean, that's a big difference between. I mean, it's squished. So I'm just trying to justify my stupidity. Ignore me. I was stupid. I should have known. I just thought, you know, it has probably never been apart. I can tell by all the undercoating that it's still the 2 original pieces because that's factory original undercoating. I just assumed that it just fell apart. I think that'll fix this up. MazMad is one step closer to being tiggity-boo. Tiggity. I don't know what tiggity-boo means. I've heard people say that, and I really don't know what it means. Other than it means everything's good, I guess, but I just don't know where that comes from. So. Well, you know, we've been driving it because it's got bugs on it. We're busting bugs. We've been busting bugs on the bumper. All bugs busted. Yeah. Sign we're driving it. She's getting some miles put on. We ain't playing no games and just saying we're taking it out. We're taking it out. Thanks for stopping by the shop today. I really appreciate you. And if you could, if it's your first time stopping by the shop and you haven't been here before, you know, that subscribe button's right over here, or it's, you know, it's on the screen, that like button. It all helps me grow. Help us teach YouTube's algorithm that I'm a classic car guy and I'm just a guy working in his shop doing what he loves and having fun and bringing you along for the ride, because if you don't have your own ride, you can ride with me anytime. If you like working on cars but you don't have a car to work on at the moment, you can come into my garage and hang out while I'm working on cars too. I miss the days when guys used to just show up, pull up a chair, grab a beer, grab a soda, hang out, talk smack while you're working on something. And YouTube has become that new place if you find your community. Are you one of my community? I hope you are. I'm glad you're here. And don't forget, I always say, don't wait for your hot rod to be perfect to enjoy it. You miss all the time you could be enjoying it while it's good. Get out in the garage. Get wrenching on something. If you don't have anything to wrench on, get on the TV. Watch guys like me, DD Speed Shop, Vice Get Garage, Puddin's Fab Shop. All those guys. They're fun. They have cool projects, and they're just like hanging out in the shop like I do and you do if you're here. So thanks. We'll see you next time.